So welcome. And we'll get started in a few minutes. I hope everybody's staying cool. I'm also in Los Angeles, and it's really hot right now. So,
it's very pleasant for us here in Mumbai.
Is it? Do you have air conditioning?
It's the tail end of the monsoons right now, so it's very pretty as well.
Nice. Nice. So I see a few more people. Just to let you know, I'm not Catherine. I know we look exactly alike, but I wear glasses. So I'm Olivia, and I'm subbing for Catherine tonight. She's not feeling well. And so should I just start introducing, or do you want to give it a little more time?
Just go ahead.
All right. So tonight, we're thrilled to have Mynoo again to present. And I just want to share a little bit about Mynoo. I met Mynoo through the World Dignity Forum and was immediately drawn to her brilliance and her energy. And I've since done the course, The Journey to Miracles, and worked with her through the Fed 100. So it's just a real delight to be hosting tonight, helping Catherine out while she goes through her travels and recovers from laryngitis. So tonight is the second of the 10 Commandments for the New World. And this is really foundational for the New World. And so we'll just let Mynoo take it from here. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Olivia. And you'll just take over the waiting room and let people in as they come. Okay. So today we are focusing on the second of the 10 Commandments. And just as a reminder, these 10 Commandments are, they're not necessarily about how you behave. They're more about the characteristics that make up the foundation on which the new world is stationed. And they have an impact on how you make your choices and how you operate. So these 10 commandments are commandments that describe what the foundation is for the new world. And on that, we construct our life, we build our life, we emerge from there. So today's commandment is all about uncertainty is certain. Now we've done a whole series on certainty. So there's a lot that you already know about certainty. But what does it actually mean as a commandment for the new world, where uncertainty is certain? I mean, they're complete opposites. You know, you would think uncertainty is the opposite of certainty. So the two shall never meet, because they're completely opposite. Where there is uncertainty, there is no certainty. And where there's certainty, there is no uncertainty. So, the two never see each other. And yet, in the new world, at a foundation level, uncertainty is what is certain. As a statement, it sounds like a statement. And my partner, Gaurav, I've been talking about this uncertainty certain ever since we chose to go from navigating the unknown to looking at what's next. And, it didn't land on him until it literally clicked one day that, right, what I know, if I was to say, what is it that I know that uncertainty is certain. So, what happens when uncertainty is certain? Well, given that everything is uncertain anyway, it literally calls you into living your passion right now. It calls you into turning up the volume on your creative self. It calls you into going for thriving as opposed to surviving. So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to just allow like 10 key elements to be shared about an environment where uncertainty is certain. And these 10 elements, I'm being told there might be 12, but let's see, 10 is what I had seen coming. Now these elements, each of these elements are elements that you can work with. They are elements that that educate you. There are elements that inform you. There are elements that that you can leverage. There are elements that you embody and embrace. Each of these elements is present in an environment where uncertainty is certain. So they cannot be ignored. You cannot run away from them. You cannot put your blinkers on. There is no sand for the ostrich to put its head into. What looks like sand is in fact fluid, and it just, the ostrich sees things even more clearly. So let's look at what are these 10 elements, and then the 2 bonus ones. So the first element is when you have an environment where uncertainty is certain, everything is uncertain. So what it does, so the first element is acceptance. And the acceptance is an unconditional acceptance of all that is. Because when uncertainty is certain, what are you going to get attached to? Anything you get attached to is uncertain. So it literally calls you, it calls you into a realm of acceptance. Now, it isn't an acceptance where you give in acceptance or give up acceptance. It's an acceptance where you make a conscious choice of unconditional acceptance. So for you to know what is it that you are unconditionally accepting, it's important to recognize all the areas where you feel uncomfortable, where you feel disoriented, where you feel challenged. And rather than finding solutions, because any solutions you go for will just be like fix-it band-aids. You literally acknowledge all of that and then unconditionally accept what is, and that allows you to move forward. The second element of uncertainty certain is it's the element of flow, which also feels very odd. How could there be flow when there's uncertainty? Yes, there is no flow when you actually get caught up in uncertainty. And actually, there is no flow when you rely and depend on flow outside of you. That something else is going to happen, and then I'll be in flow. What uncertainty certain does is it calls you into taking on your own responsibility to the environment of uncertainty certain by you choosing moment by moment that which keeps you in flow. Talking about Catherine having laryngitis. I don't have laryngitis, but my throat is playing up a little. uncertainty certain. So hey, we are going to find our flow in that. So the element of flow basically calls you to make a conscious choice of flow. And how can you be in flow when uncertainty is certain? You choose little things. You start becoming vigilant. You start becoming aware of that which keeps you in flow. And you do that moment by moment. And that's the third element of uncertainty is certain. And the third element basically is it's a moment by moment presence. So when uncertainty is certain, that you can't just sit back and say, okay, fine, we're finally there. Well, uncertainty is certain. It could change anytime. So what that does is it calls you into being present, moment by moment. The fourth element, which is linked to the moment by moment, is the element where each one of us becomes an observer. Being an observer and living our life as an observer is a very advanced form of enlightened existence. Many very, very advanced spiritual leaders, their quest is the quest of becoming an observer. Becoming an observer and living your life in that way is one of the most engaged forms of living your life. Being an observer is very interesting because when you don't even have to sit back, you initially begin by sitting back and observing before taking action. But in your observation, you are able to experience and see the nuance of what is going on. And you're able to then choose at a level of nuance. And it is a nuance that determines, how you are going to go about experiencing your day. Being an observer also takes out trying. Because trying is so trying. So you can observe. You can observe the nuance, you can observe the finesse, you can then make a conscious choice and get on with it. It takes away rush, being an observer. An observer doesn't mean that you're not in action. It means that you are in laser beam focused action. So if you were to say, right, I'm just going to do something to grow my business, or to do business development, and you can just go and do business development, and you just give yourself fully into it, you can become immersed in it, and you may find that 80-90% of your time might just be wasted or frittered away, and only 10% of what you actually put your energy into was worthwhile. Now, what the observer piece does is you may take the same amount of time, except 90% of your time will be the one that will bear fruit, because you've taken the time to observe before jumping into something. Seriously, there's no need to try. In the new world, trying is so trying. It always was, but in the new world, it's even more trying because life is meant to be so easy. If you only allow yourself to observe before making a choice and then acting on it. Observer has a direct impact on the next element, the fifth element. The fifth element is the element of choice, and it's all about exercising and expressing your choice. In uncertainty is certain. There's no passive choice. You're not being a passive observer, you're being an engaged observer. You're choosing consciously and you are always choosing. So you can imagine, you're always choosing anyway. And you bring consciousness to that alwaysness about choosing. Everything becomes a matter of choice. And now you have exercised your consciousness. So internally you accept and recognize that I have chosen this. And when you take on that I have chosen this, you are able to be the owner of your choice. And when you own something, look back at your life. When you own something, an action that you might have taken, as opposed to feeling that you had to do something, you needed to do something, you shift from a victim existence to an existence where you are the master of your choices. And that takes us to the sixth element, which is the sixth element is the element of congruence. I mean, with such rapidity, we're arriving at congruence by literally engaging and understanding these elements and then looking at what they mean for us. Congruence can take a lifetime, maybe even several lifetimes. Now, what do you become congruent with? You actually become congruent with you. You get to know you. You get to understand the rhythm of you. You get to experience the flow of you. You get to be stationed and whole and complete. And that enables that congruence to occur. It's almost like when you are in a state of congruence, you are grounded, but you're not rigid. Your roots are laid down, and they are so deep that even if the topsoil erodes somewhat because of environmental factors, you are still solid. And you can sway, you can even fold over yourself if there is any particular pressure, but you always bounce back. The center of gravity may only shift momentarily. It does not waver. That's the power of congruence. So this is at an elemental level, congruence becomes available to us when uncertainty is certain. It's very exciting for me to see that, because I know I have done a lot of work around congruence. The next element is another level up from congruence, which is coherence. Coherence stations you in the highest vibe of your beingness on this planet. It stations you in an environment where you automatically walk your talk, you live your highest potential, you are received and seen that way. Wherever you go, you engender, you bring about coherence. Many of these things that I'm saying are things that, people leave the worlds that they have been living in and go and live in a cave or, or on top of the mountain or something to be able to arrive at all of this. And what's exciting for me with this commandment is all of these things become available to us as we go about our regular day. So what would it be like actually being in coherence all the time? And ultimately, the coherence experience is the experience of being connected to the creator that you are. It literally brings that remembrance back of what does it mean to be a creator. And that takes me to the eighth element. And the eighth element is one of creation. In a realm where uncertainty is certain, creation is what's called for. And given that we are in the new world, which is all about collaborative co-creation of coexistence, then we are not alone in our creation. What I also got to see as I was putting into practice each of these elements and really connecting to them, what I got to see is that we are always, just like choice, we are always creating. We may be creating our thoughts. We may be creating some thoughts that we think a lot and therefore we create our beliefs. We may be creating dialogues that are uplifting dialogues, or they're dialogues that are depleting dialogues. So given that we are always creating anyway, so much of our creation energy is allocated towards finding a way around something that exists, coping with something that we don't want and have to, work with, or creating something that protects us. But uncertainty is certain. So what are you protecting yourself from? Really, if you look at it, most of the protection elements were all to do with protecting yourself from uncertainty, but uncertainty is certain. That is the certainty. Now, get into creation. And literally, you recognize and realize, and this was the epiphany that Gaurav got, where he saw, wow, I'm actually standing in a clearing all the time. I can create anything I want. And then you go into an understanding of you and your prowess as a creator. So you can create anything. You can create a solution and you can create a problem. You can create magic and miracles where there's so much that is occurring that's making your heart sing, and you can create worry, anxiety, anguish, and deprivation. You created it. Now you may have got away with it in the previous era. In the new world, at a foundation level, uncertainty is certain. So you could go down the track of creating anguish and deprivation and worry, and that will spin so fast. So the train wreck experiences are also, accelerated. But in the knowingness that uncertainty is certain, and one of the elements of that is creation, then take it on, Take on being the creator that you are. And rather than think about, I'm going to create this humongous empire or this big goal, yes, you have that intention. I have the intention that expecting and accepting miracles are the norm for humans and humanity. And I can begin one human at a time. And the first human is me. So I'm actually in creation and actively engaged in my bold, hairy, audacious goal, moment by moment. And I'm creating it proactively. And here's the next element, number 8. And this element is passion. So given that uncertainty is certain, let's look at what is actually certain for us as humans that are experiencing the state of life where we are breathing. What is certain is that this state of life where we are breathing could change at any time, and we will have a change of state. And that change of state is not gasping for breath because you're still breathing. The change of state is death, where you stop breathing. So that's certain. We are right now enjoying the state of life, and that state could change, and it could be death, and we stop breathing. So in the realm of uncertainty is certain, and I'm talking about this in the context of the element of passion. I'm talking about it in the context of passion, because the fact that this state of yours, of ours, can change at any time, and whenever it changes, at that moment in time, at a conscious level, there'll be certain things you're satisfied about, certain things you're not. And if that was to occur for me now, there'll be some things I'm satisfied about, some things I'm not. If I was to have a change of state from life to death in 10 years' time, 20 years, 40 years, 50 years' time, at that moment in time, there'll be some things I'm satisfied about, some things I'm not. That is certain. The exact content of that will shift. So given that that is certain, and it is also certain that that change of state of life can occur at any time, why wait? Live your passion now. And you know what passion is? Passion is something that lights you up, and in you being lit up, you pass it on to others. And they get passionate. Initially, they get passionate about what you're passionate about, and that in itself opens the doorway to what it is that they are themselves feel passionate about. Passion actually is pass on. And it literally is pass the I am frequency on. So passion is the 8th element in an environment where uncertainty is certain. It's such a phenomenal opportunity for you to live your passion, moment by moment, as a matter of choice. and the element of congruence applied to passion. Coherence generates it, makes passion regenerative. And this occurs moment by moment. Element number 9. Element number 9 is about resolve. I mean, there is nothing more powerful than unconditional acceptance of uncertainty certain. At least that's how it was for me. For me to be stationed in my resolve and literally, engage with the juiciness of every moment. And I am resolved that humans and humanity experience expecting and accepting miracles as their norm. That's what I'm resolved about. So like literally suddenly, by unconditionally accepting uncertainty certain, I was presented with this playground where I could literally co-create with the creator different pathways to bring this about. Knowing that there are no boundaries. There is nothing to get attached to. If one particular pathway I begin with and it doesn't quite meet the mark, fine, there'll be another one. I even stopped being attached to, the experience of when something works or something doesn't work. I became bold in declaring what I stand for. It was my little secret, expecting and accepting miracles as the norm for all of humans and humanity. And I declare this, I don't know, many times a day, and certainly on our Zoom calls. And I'm in action about it. I see evidence of it several times a day. And so the resolve has come into force in its innate vibration, and nothing wavers me from that. Nothing. Be it lockdown, be it whatever. COVID, whatever. What it also means is it's detached me from finally laid out plans. Does not mean I don't plan, I do. And Olivia, from the Federation work that you've been doing with me, that our planning is very meticulous and very detailed. Very detailed. But I'm not attached to that. That is done because that gets my mind fully engaged, fully present with me, and at a cellular level, the memory of those plans playing out gets anchored. And then I allow myself to show up in resolve. The planning is already done, orders placed to the universe. And it brings in resources, opportunities. And it also gives me the wherewithal to be able to be alert and discern so that I can act in a laser beam focused way. And that is available to all. I don't have to know how this resolve is going to be realized. Just like Gandhi did not need to know how India was going to become free in his lifetime when it had been ruled for 600 years before that. He took it up as a resolve, allowed himself to stand in that resolve every breath he took, every sentence he uttered. You know what this does? Is failure as a negative thing disappears. Failure is what I celebrate. As well as celebrating wins. So it's like, every day, every moment is one big celebration. And hey, what's the universe doing? It's going, yes, she likes that. And that is what landed for Gaurav when he got uncertainty is certain. It is the most phenomenal opportunity ever for us, for each one of us, to be stationed in our resolve. There's a question that people ask, well, how do I know what I'm resolved about? This too shall be revealed for you. And for now, for you to know what you are resolved about, you see what is occurring in your life. You see what is occurring in your life, and from that, you look at which of the things that are occurring in your life make your heart sing. Which of these things that are occurring in your life that make your heart sing the loudest. And connect the dots. And in connecting the dots, you will be able to see, okay, that's what I'm resolved about. And don't panic, don't be anxious about it. Even if you just focus your attention on being resolved about that which makes your heart sing the loudest, that in itself will clean up your vibrations at such a level that you will be able to land with that crispness, like I've got, which is, expecting and accepting miracles as the norm for humans and humanity. And you have yours, and it will arrive. For now, use this element that becomes available to you in the environment of uncertainty is certain. And the exciting thing about these 10 commandments is they are foundational. So it's not going away anywhere. At a foundation level, uncertainty is certain. So once you accept that as a foundation and you build from there, you know that you have your time. You can take your time to connect to your resolve. And when you do, it will already be in a state of blossoming. The 10th element. The 10th element, to me, is one of the most exquisite elements. It's a vibration. It's a vibration of humility. When uncertainty is certain, beating your chest like me, Tarzan, it could be taken away in an instant. So what this humility does is, to me, what humility does for me is it has me show up in service. It has me show up in service. It has me show up in service of our planet overall. And everything that makes up our planet. Because in this human form, I'm here on this planet. As a soul being, I could be anywhere. In this human form, I'm here on this planet. Humility as an element of uncertainty is certain makes available to me the experience of being in service. For me to be able to be in service of this planet, it gets me to recognize the infinite capacity that I have within me to be of service. It gets me to recognize all the capabilities that exist within me. It gets me to be present to my gifts and talents that are being regenerated, and in me observing my gifts and talents and my observance of how those gifts and talents play out, and show up as I connect with others and as I show up in doing what I do on our planet, I see them multiplying. I get creative as a matter of choice. And I get creative on how I'm going to apply them, my gifts and talents. And at every stage, I'm engaged in observing, receiving, acknowledging, accepting with humility, knowing that there is no need to get attached to anything. It's here today because I'm choosing to be alive and exercise this state of life. And once that state shifts, what will be left behind is what came about through the sharing of my gifts and talents. And that will continue. That'll be my legacy. And I can just simply keep moving forward. Humility is one of the most powerful energy forces. When you exercise humility, the only direction to go is forward. Nothing stops you, nothing holds you back. People often say, I do some very deep work with people, and sometimes it is very deep healing work that is happening, and at a full spectrum level. And people often say, don't you get tired? I don't actually. And I know that the moment I think I'm doing it, I will be tired. Because the shifts that occur in people from where they were before to where they are after the work is done, it could be 10 minutes, it could be, several days. It's so huge, so humongous, that if I think I am doing it, I will be exhausted. I am a vessel of fulfillment of the divine plan. And as that vessel of fulfillment of the divine plan, I allow. This is the bonus element number 11, which is allow. I allow. I allow for what chooses to come through me in that moment. And sure enough, I have the experience, I have my treasure trove of all the various tools and techniques and journeys and a whole host of other things. In allowing, which is the bonus element number 11, what it does is it allows me to be present. And you know what in being present? I am presencing my presence. And when I presence my presence, I am stationed in whole and complete. My mind is still, heart's beating nicely, the gut is gurgling well, knowing that I'll call on it when I want to. And what that does is it immediately has a direct impact on the opposite person, so they become present. And they start getting comfortable in their own presence. And they're allowing themselves to be. And this is the 12th bonus element, which is being. It is not being instead of doing. It is being leading the doing. In uncertainty is certain. You can get super busy. But when uncertainty is certain, you may give all of yourself to one particular thing or several things and a way of doing it. And when you are just in the do, you get attached to what you're doing, how you're doing it. But when you actually allow being to lead the doing, you're acknowledging that doing is necessary. Doing starts to flow. Because when uncertainty is certain, let's say you do get busy doing and you forget the being, the moment you have any interruption in that, in your flow, you pause and choose your be word. If you haven't already got the be book, get it from Amazon. It's in audiobook format as well as book format. Teaches you how to do this. Choose your be word. Because you can. That's certain. And you can be that in an instant. Nothing outside needs to change for you to exercise your choice of the be word. So that's the 12th element. And these 12 together present to you the playground, the environment in which uncertainty is certain. You land, you get stationed in the certainty of that. And once you are in the certainty of that, you're in a clearing in which you can create anything. You're able to connect, be vigilant about, and meet, recognize your collaborators, your co-creators. Judgment gives way to knowingness. Engaging with all of these elements, and if you did that between now and the next week that we get together, looking at the 3rd commandment, you will start to relate to, in the realm where uncertainty is certain, even when you engage with this uncertainty piece, there is so much that is going on in you living out this state of life that is certain. And all of the things that are certain in an environment where uncertainty is certain are all down to you. Nothing outside of you contributes to that. Outside of you contributes to, he's showing you the evidence that uncertainty is certain. For you to find certainty, it's going to come from you, and it ends with you. So having shared that, Olivia, I'm open to questions.
Well, thank you, Mynoo. That was wonderful. I love the idea of living my passion right now. There's just really no excuse not to. And tuning up my volume on creativity, which I feel like I have been doing, and it just feels so much as the key to being uncertain is just to go for it. And thriving as opposed to surviving. So thank you. And the humility also really hit me. So I get reminded of that often because I have failures, but I keep going. So I do have a question, and then I think if we have others, we'd love to open it up. So is there such a thing as destiny, and can that be changed?
Yes, that's a very good question. And I think we have Asha and Rupa here. I was doing a session with them for their congregation, and this was a question that was asked there also, that, what about destiny? Because I was saying you can create anything, and they're saying, well, what about destiny? Okay, so destiny is the destination. And the destination has already been reached. And the destination basically is your soul merging, becoming one as soul being. That's the destination. Soul literally becoming one as the soul being. And that destination is already there. That destination is a given. So can it be changed? Why would he change it? No, it can't be changed. That's just a given. Now, your experiences can be changed on your way to soul merging as soul being. But that doesn't mean that becomes your destiny. Your destiny is that soul merging into its soul being state. That's the destiny. It's done. It is so. So now, given that that is so, what can you actually cause and make happen now? That's all a matter of choice. That's my response to this question.
Thank you. I have a couple more, but do you normally open it up to people?
No, Catherine usually asks because it takes a long time for muting, unmuting. So it's
okay. Yeah. So if you have them, text Catherine. She'll probably be on next time. So another one.
You can also put it on the chat. We can pick it from there.
Great idea. Thanks.
But I know you have.
So, is a person a reflection of the company they keep? And how would you know if this is, I guess, related to that? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the question. Thanks. Yeah.
So is a person the company they keep?
A reflection of the company they keep.
Reflection of the company they keep.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in my world, it is completely the other way around. The company you keep is a reflection of you.
Mm.
This way of thinking that I'm a reflection of the company I keep is coming from a habitual pattern of giving our power away to a force outside of us. It is akin to, if the weather is bad, I don't feel good. Suddenly now the weather has the power to you feeling good or bad. You have no control over the weather. You do know that you can make yourself feel good, even if you're feeling bad at a particular moment. And at some point, that pattern of behavior set in humanity. Where we gave our power away to forces outside of us. And you don't have to. This is the point about, it's like, can you imagine uncertainty is certain? And you are a reflection of the company you keep. I mean, hello, uncertainty is already certain. How many of those, the people that you're engaging with, where are they going to be? I mean, look at what's occurred, how profound a change in values people have had in this extended lockdown period. Doesn't matter whether it was for real or not, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is it actually occurred. And it's really it was done, I said all along, the divines hijacked the plan, it's bringing humans to their core values. There's no time better than now to really know everything outside of you is a reflection of you. The company you keep is a reflection of you. And, we've all gone through it. There are times, people that we were attracted to, I certainly know that from myself. People I was engaging with 20 years ago are not the sort of people that I engage with now. I'm inclusive, yes. But would I hang out with them? Probably not. So they really, the company you keep is a reflection of you, not the other way around. Take that power back. Exercise it with conscious choice.
Thank you. So along those lines, around discernment, we're hearing lots of stories about things that may be going on in the world. Some people call them conspiracy theories. How do we develop our discernment to know what's real in those situations?
Very good point. Yes, discernment has been my word du jour, certainly for the last 18 months or so. And I can see why. I was prepared, being prepared for this time. And really, how do you know whether your discernment, is accurate or not? Remember, your body is the perfect barometer, an indicator for you to know if you're exercising discernment or discernment needs to be exercised, rather than just going with the flow or being caught up in FOMO, fear of missing out. You will know that discernment requires to be applied. You will also know that your discernment is perfect when you feel you are in flow. How do you know that you're in flow?
Mm-hmm.
You know you're in flow when you have that yummy feeling in your body. There is no yuckiness there. There's nothing. There is, there's either nothingness or there's yumminess. And even the nothingness is, okay, you're in your center, you're in your flow. And that's when you know that your discernment is accurate. Remember, applying discernment, thinking that you should do something because you're expected to, or it should be done in a particular way, that in itself has a little bit of yuckiness in it. The allowing element that I talked about, the resolve element that I talked about, those are all, for me, those are the ways in which I discern. Working with all the elements that I talked about, Olivia, and this is to whoever has asked this question, it connects you to your inner knowing. And you know that your inner knowing is the one that knows best. And those of you who participate in the Beyond meditation, and if you don't, please, you're welcome to. Happens on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 7:30 Pacific time. There we actually do a particular breath pattern, which gets you into your center. And that's a really good access point. If you feel a bit of yuckiness, you pause, interrupt, do the 9-4-6 breath, and then you apply your discernment. Just in case you find yourself right in the middle of swing of things and you can't get out of it, that's the way to do it. Interrupt your own patterns, apply discernment on that. Which are the patterns I'm going to interrupt? Before you go out and apply discernment outside of you.
Thank you. So there is a question in the chat that since it's close to the time, I saved it for another week.
Okay.
And I was just wondering if you have a way of closing or...
Yes, so what we do is, thank you, Olivia. What we do is we invite you to share your one word that you are present to at this moment. And we will read those words as they come in. And in reading the words, what we're doing is we're really anchoring the vibrational quality of those words. Everything that we are doing, each one of you as you show up here, we are all actually becoming higher and higher holographic presences of ourselves. Because most of you here now have been participating in these sessions for several weeks, several months now. So you already have a very large and expansive holographic presence. And the vibrations of these words that you share connects and touches the vibrations of everybody that you have ever connected with, directly or indirectly. And what's more, now that you have a holographic presence that reaches across the planet, and the fact that we are in different parts of the planet, we holographically infect the world with the vibration of these words. So that's why we invite you to share the words. So Olivia, usually Catherine reads out the words, so you can go ahead and read them out.
Okay, so we have discernment, which is Samantha's word for the last year. Sean shares yummy journeyness. I share wholeness. Tanel shares delight. Mary Catherine shares presence. Peggy Paul and Trusting My Gut, David and Helene. Excited to have resonated with you this evening. Feels great. Vince, yummy and yucky. This is a question and an answer. Great. Nancy says, magnificent presence. And Lee says, present to creation and joy. Asha's getting centered and in flow. Karen's possibilities. David says, limitless.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I will see you on Saturday at Beyond Meditation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So beautiful to see you all.